Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Side Hustle Ideas. I am Bill, the company's expert. Thank you for joining me today. This is the weekly live stream where we talk about entrepreneurship and business. So if you are interested in starting your own company, starting your own business, or doing a side hustle, which kind of amounts to the same thing, but the difference is that it's part-time and you have a full-time day job. If you're interested in that kind of thing, adding an income stream, you've come to the right place where we talk about it. The title of today's episode is Lessons from YouTube, Putting the Marketing into Operations. And this is episode number 75. So, we're going to talk about that today. This is kind of a bit of a weird topic. Usually I talk about stuff that's strictly for startups and side hustles and small business. This is something that's just a general business principle that you can apply across the board. And in fact, I have more experience applying it with larger organizations than small organizations, but it does apply to everything, including to YouTube. So we're going to be getting into that. I'm going to be sharing for the first time ever in over 5 years, a little bit of my experiences with YouTube, because YouTube is a side hustle or a small business, whatever you want to call it. It does fit under that moniker. If you're making money from it, if you're doing it on the side, it's a side hustle. So there you go. Before we start, just a public service announcement. I want to say a special thanks to my YouTube channel members. Membership has its privileges. And my Patreons and my super thanks donors and my participants. All you guys are awesome. So we're going to get into this. We're going to talk about this topic today. And this is primarily a Q&A, a live stream where I interact with you guys. So if you're seeing my face, you should see a chat box. Get in the chat box. Send me some questions, what you're wondering about, what you're struggling with, and I will try and help you out. Yeah, so I guess we'll just launch into it. This is something I've done absolutely no preparation for, but it's something that's very near and dear to my heart as far as business principles go. This is something that I don't see it often talked about. This is not something you hear about all the time, but yet I find it to be something that's of critical importance if you're trying to do a business venture that's going to succeed. Okay? And that is, let's start at the beginning. Normally in a business, and this applies to one-person businesses, and this applies to side hustles also, you have two big pillars that make it work. One is operations, the other is marketing. Okay, operations, that's where you do the thing you do. So if you, like I always say, if you're in a plumbing company, the plumbing part, that's operations. Okay, so you have the operations side, and then you have the marketing side. And marketing is everything to do with customers. So this starts off at a very high level where you try and figure out, who is my audience? Who is my target market? What does my customer look like? Where do you find my customers? What makes them my customers? Why would they be in the market of looking for something? What do they want? What do they care about? What do they need? What's their mentality? What price are they willing to pay? Where are they looking for these services or these products? All that kind of stuff. High-level concepts like that, all the way down to the sales department, which is the more practical, applied element of marketing, where you actually go out and you interact with your target market and you try to make sales, you try to make transactions. So that's the whole marketing pillar, okay? So as you can appreciate, you need both of them to make any kind of business work. And the people I imagine I'm going to be primarily speaking to today are introverts, or technical people, if they're not one and the same. People that are very, very strong on the operations side of things, but maybe don't come from the marketing world or the sales world, don't know much about that stuff, don't enjoy thinking about it or doing that kind of stuff, don't have any real skills in that area. It's you guys I'm talking to. And I feel a lot of kinship for people like that because I came up through operations. I'm not a sales guy at heart. I'm a technical guy, so I have an affinity for technical people. But at the same time, I also see the limitations of technical people and some of the blind spots that many technical people have, especially if they're going to get into the world of business, where you need those two pillars for sure. And one of those pillars is the marketing sales operation. You need to be strong there too. That's just how it goes. Yeah, so let's, I don't know what order I'm going to do this in. Okay, something I wanted to talk about today that's relevant for every business when it comes to this stuff is something called the product market fit. Okay, so you can have any product or any service, right, that's made in the world or provided in the world, any product or service, and that product or service is tailored for a specific type of customer. It doesn't go to everyone. Like, for example, I'm going to be talking about Toyota as an example later on. Let's talk about Toyota. Toyota is known for being a reasonably high quality manufacturer of cars and trucks, among other things. And they are, I believe, they are the number one car maker globally. And so they're very well regarded, and they produce a product that a lot of their customers like. I don't know what a Toyota product would be. Corolla, Tercel, things like this. Now, those are hit products when they are going to their target market, which would be consumers, people that have families, people that just want a car to drive around the city, right? It's kind of a silly thing to say, but that product, the Toyota Corolla or the Toyota Tercel, those products would not be hit products if you positioned it as a race car, right? Like you wanted to make an entry in the Formula One or the Indianapolis 500, where they race cars, and they go like hundreds of thousands, millions of miles an hour around the track, right? And the cars have wings and all this kind of stuff. A Toyota would not be a very good product as a race car, right? Because it's not designed to be a race car. But you see what I'm saying, right? If you try to create the Toyota product and then sell it as a race car, it would not work. It might be a good product to one market, but not to another. So one problem that a lot of people have to deal with when they are starting a business, even like a side hustle or something like that, is they might have a great idea. And if you're a technical person, you might have a great technical idea. Here's the thing that I know how to do that solves a problem. And everyone should want to solve this problem. So I'm going to make this thing available as a product or as a service. Okay, that's my idea for a business. Great. The problem is that if you are trying to sell it to the wrong audience, the wrong target market, then it's not going to be a hit. Even if it was a hit, or would be a hit if you had positioned it and exposed it to a different target market, right? Does that make sense? So here's the deal. Who creates the product in a company? Is it the marketing department? No, it's the operations department. If you have a manufacturing company, for example, the manufacturing is done in the operations department. It's the operations people. That's where you find a lot of the technical people. The operations department is usually not populated by a bunch of salespeople. It's usually a bunch of engineers, technicians, that kind of thing, right? But the problem is, it's those people that usually come up with the product, right? Or the service, whatever you're offering. And the problem is, if they come up with something that's not very compelling, or they think is compelling, but after it's given over to the marketing sales arm, they have a hard time selling it because it's just not meeting customer needs, then you've got a real problem on your hand. And the problem is not how to sell it. The problem is that the product that you're creating is just not good. It's just not resonating with other people out there. I'm sure the person who creates it thinks it's great. That's fine. But the big question is, do customers think it's fine? Do customers think it's great? Well, if it's not successful, the answer is no. So this is the problem. The product, the thing that you sell, or the service, is created by the operations people, and usually they have no conception of customers or customer needs or the market. For example, do they know in fine detail what competition is out there in the market for the market segment that you've targeted? Probably not. Okay. They don't know what other options are out there, how good they are at any given time, what their approach is. They usually wouldn't know that because they're not paying attention to that. They're usually looking inward to creating something that, has to do with imagination and what I could do and what I want to do and what I guess people will need and like. And this is where the problems are. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Now, if you've ever done any kind of entrepreneurial venture and you're a technical person, maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you've had the experience of creating something or being a part of a team that creates something and it just doesn't sell. You may think it's an elegant solution. You may think that everyone should want this because you feel it's awesome, but it just doesn't sell. Sometimes that's the fault of the marketing sales division. Sometimes it's the fault of the operations division. They just gave you something. They've produced something that in this form, nobody wants to buy it. Okay? Now, we talked about Toyota. Toyota is a great company. As far as companies go, it's one of the better ones. It tends to produce products that tend to be hits, and it has a long track record of doing this. It tends to make a lot of money and be successful, and it tends to have a sort of high rating, almost like a customer satisfaction rating. Customers who buy the Toyota products generally tend to score a bit higher on how they appreciate the product, how they feel the product has performed for them. They score pretty well on that stuff. So they're a pretty good company. They're kind of the ideal for a lot of other companies. They want to be like Toyota. Now, part of that is because they've got great products. Now, think of how easy a salesperson's job must be for Toyota, because they already have in many respects, they have hit products. They've got a lot of products that are best sellers, that are highly regarded, that are well known and have good reputations for being good. The company itself has good reputations for quality and reliability and features and user friendliness and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so they already have quite a good reputation out there. So think of the role of a salesperson. How hard would they have to work to sell that product? Probably not very hard. As opposed to salespeople from other car manufacturers that probably have to work a lot harder to sell their products when they're going up against products like Toyota's. Right? They have to really sell hard, right, in order to make those transactions. So this is the thing. Toyota has a great product. It's not simply in the sales. It's that the operations side has done a fantastic job of not only delivering, a product that's good and it conforms to specifications, but it fits the market perfectly. It's meant for consumers, and this is like the perfect product for consumers. It gives the consumers exactly what they're looking for. So you've got a hit on your hands, and that came from the operations department. Now, this is where I make my point finally, and that is that even though we're talking about the operations department here, usually a group of technical, introverted people who are very, very smart, and they've got skills in very specific technical areas, usually understanding customers and understanding the different perspectives a car user would have from a car engineer, right? For example, a lot of people who drive cars but aren't really car people, they don't understand a lot of fancy features. They don't like a lot of computers and everything. They don't like a lot of complexity. Even if it's, it enables a lot of sophistication and a lot of features, they don't like that because it's too complicated. And what an engineer might think would be child's play to understand is actually too complicated for a lot of end users. So you've got a disconnect there, a difference in perspectives. The engineers think that what they're making is very user-friendly. Turns out the consumers don't find it user-friendly at all. You got two different perspectives, right? So what you need are people in the operations department that have or that understand the perspective of your end users, your customers or clients. Okay, Toyota's a great example of this, where they've done a fantastic job of creating a product that fits the market perfectly. Now, I wanted to also talk about YouTube. I wanted to talk about, if nothing else, my experiences on YouTube, because YouTube is kind of a special case, and it also qualifies as a side hustle. I know there's some people out there that are curious about, whether YouTube could be a side hustle for them. I know there's like about 1 billion people talking about this out in the real world. But and if you are interested in that kind of thing, you've probably seen a lot of videos of people talking about it. But I wanted to talk about my experiences a little bit, which I've never done before on this channel in public videos. So YouTube is kind of a weird kind of thing, because you can start a one-person company and do a YouTube channel. You can get it monetized, you can make money off it, and you can do it yourself. And, it's a great sort of side hustle for a lot of people. You could turn it into a full-time thing if you wanted to. But it's strange, because how we were talking a moment ago about how a business has 2 main pillars holding it up. One is operations, and one is marketing/sales, right? In YouTube, you kind of only have one, the operation side. And the reason that is because YouTube itself, through its algorithm, it takes care of the marketing sales side. Okay? If you're a creator, you have a YouTube channel, you create the videos or shorts or whatever you put on your YouTube channel. So you're in the operations department. You're creating the product. Okay? You don't have to worry about getting that in front of end users, because that's what YouTube does. YouTube has an algorithm that will take your product, and then it says, okay, look, I'm going to go and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to get exposure, and I'm going to also connect with advertisers and this kind of stuff. And you don't have to worry yourself about what I'm doing. I'm just going to be a black box to you. I'm going to take your thing, and I'm going to find an audience for it. I'm going to find its target market. And I'm going to and by that, technically, I mean the advertisers, but I'm also going to find the end users, the viewers, and I'm just going to handle that all myself. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't see what I'm doing. You don't have to worry about what I'm doing. What you need to do is you need to create a good product. Okay, so you just worry about that. That's your job as a creator. You create a product, like a video or whatever it is, that's good. And I'll do the rest. Okay, so YouTube becomes the marketing and sales operation for a YouTube channel. So you don't have to worry about that. In fact, you are forced to not worry about that. It does it all for you, whether you want it to or not. You just deal with the operation side. So that means that you are a creator. Now, you could be an introvert. You could be a technical person like me. You might not know about the audience for a certain thing. You know that, I want to do videos on this topic. Say you want to do a video on how to fix your house or something like construction, like a handyman type thing. You know about that. You know about that technical stuff. That's all operations. So you create videos for it. But you know nothing of whether this topic is in demand or it's not in demand, or it is in demand but with a certain crowd of people, but not in demand with another crowd of people. You have no idea about that stuff. You've never hung out at, Home Depot or Lowe's or, any of these stores where you would meet people that do construction and handymen and stuff like that, or handy people. Do we say that? I don't know. You know nothing about the audience or the size of the audience or what they're interested in watching. But you don't. So you just make video. You go ahead and you make videos, and it's like a trial and error type thing. You think maybe some people are interested in this, so you do a video on it, and then you hand it over to YouTube, and then YouTube's algorithm basically shows you, right? And you could do the trial and error way, right? But as you can imagine, if you have an idea of what people are interested in, and you understand their perspective when they see your product, in this case, videos or whatever, then you'll be able to make better decisions to create something that fits the market better. So you get better product market fit. Okay, so what I'm saying is that even though you're in the operations department, even though you're an introverted technical type person, you still need to understand the marketing side, and you have to understand your audience and your customers. Okay. I see there's some questions. That's great, Julius here. I'll get to your question in a second. Okay, so one of the things that all people need to do in a business, okay, is you need to link operations and marketing. How are you going to know what product to come out with if the people creating the product have no clue about the people that might buy it or that you're hoping will buy it? You have no idea what they think. You have no idea what they want. You have no idea what they need. You have no idea their first impressions of your product. You have no idea what they're prepared to pay, and so on. How would you be able to just magically come up with something that's a hit when you don't know any of that, right? This is a big reason why most businesses fail. It's because people create something thinking, guessing that a lot of other people will like it, only to find that that's not actually true. There's something that you got wrong. It might even be simple as you're charging too much money for it. You got everything right, it's just that you're charging too much money. But there's something wrong. Maybe it doesn't do quite what people want. Maybe it does what they want, but they don't understand that it does what they want. You know what I mean? So somewhere along the line in that entire marketing process, you made a mistake, and it's like a chain. Everything has to be done correctly to get a good result, right? So what does this mean in real world terms? This means that if you are someone that's mainly from the operations side of things, you're a creator, you are an engineer type, or someone that dreams up, a product or a service that you think other people will want, learn everything you can about the marketing and sales side. That will be the keys to success for you, because you need both of those pillars. Sometimes we see the opposite. Sometimes we see entrepreneurs that have the sales and marketing side down. They're salespeople at heart. They're extroverts. They're social butterflies. They know people, and they meet people constantly, and they deal with people constantly. They know the people out there. But what they can't do is the technical side of things to create something, to have something to sell. That's where they fall down. Okay? But you've got to have those two pillars, no matter who you are, no matter what your personality is or what universe you're coming from. You've got to have something called product market fit. That's just the way it goes. What a lot of people do, a lot of introverts, I see them guessing what other people want. They think, I want this, therefore everyone else should want it too. Right? Wrong. That does not hold up. That's like build it and they will come. That doesn't hold up either. If I want it, then everyone else should want it. Nope, that doesn't hold up either. You have to go out and get evidence of this. And, maybe there's a demand for something out there that you could deliver, but you don't know quite what form it would take. That's what you got to figure out. Because if you do, then you'll have a hit on your hands. I could go on, but let's go over to questions right now. Julia's here. Julia says, I had known a case about a failed in marketing of a popular English learning program that did really well in other areas. Even pricing had been adjusted. What do you think of this, Bill? Bilk. Okay, good. Bill. Okay, good. You corrected that. Okay, at least you got the capital B there, so that's good. If it had been a lowercase b, I'd have been mortally insulted and never talked to you ever again. So yeah, this is an example. Now, you can't tell me that there's nobody out in the world that doesn't want to learn the English language, right? I mean, I don't know much about those things. I already know English. I'm not in that world, but I know it's a popular thing. There are a lot of people out there that want to learn English, or they want to learn better English, or they want to learn a certain type of English. It's a huge market, right? So here we have an example of, an English learning program that failed. right? Now, what somebody probably did, just to guess, is the creators of this, they said, I think this is a good idea. This is the type of thing that I would want to use if I was learning English. So therefore, I'm going to create this and put it out, and we expect big success, right? Well, you didn't get success because somewhere along the line, there's a chain of things that you have to do correctly, and you got something wrong. Now, if you're wondering what that chain is that I keep mentioning, it starts with, the five P's of marketing, like product, place, price, performance, all that kind of stuff. Or is it the 4 P's or the 5 P's? They keep adding to it. Now we're up to like 18 P's. But it starts with that. And then within each one, there's several things you got to get. Like price is probably the simplest one, but the product itself doesn't meet the needs of the customer you're targeting. That's very complicated. That's a lot of points. All their wants, wills, and needs. It incorporates their perceptions of things, rightly or wrongly. Like they could be deluded and think that, this is true. And so they apply that when they judge your product. And it could be totally false. But, you still have to conform to it because that's what they think. If you hope to sell it to them, you have to take that into account, right? That's why you have to get out and know your customers, right? To be truly effective. Okay, so there could be any number of failures like in this giant process, but it's a marketing type failure. Maybe you have a perfect product, but nobody knows about it because you're shouting about it in the wrong place, right? You're just putting it on a website somewhere. Most people are just not going to your website because they don't know who you are. Maybe you have to talk about it and shout about it some other place where they are listening, right? Where are they looking right now? That's where you should start showing, the message that I have this thing and it's awesome and it does what you want, right? So there's all kinds of things in the marketing side of things that you have to get right. Just like there's a whole ton of things in the operations side that you have to get right to make a good product, right? But my point is that a lot of operations people have a total blind spot for everything in that marketing pillar. And sometimes it's caused by them trivializing it, saying, I don't need to know any of that. It's all a bunch of salesy, slimy BS. I don't need to know that. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to ignore it, pretend it doesn't exist. And then I'm just going to focus myself on creating this thing. Great. You've created this thing. It could be a massive hit for someone hypothetically, but nobody's buying it because that right person doesn't know about it. Farzana says, "Hey Bill, hope you're enjoying the winter snow. Stay safe." Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. I actually don't mind the cold. Many years ago, I learned that if you want to live in an Arctic climate, it's very simple. All you have to do is just wear the proper attire. Get yourself like a kick-ass coat. There's a reason why people make $100 gloves, because they actually work, whereas other gloves don't when you have a certain temperature. You got the mask, like the goggles, and then you got the face part here. That's the part I'm still missing. You could tie a scarf around your head like an idiot, but they make actual masks and stuff like for that, for cold temperature. But you wear the right stuff, you go out there, you're toasty warm, it's not a problem. You can just go about your business. But on days like today, where it's like where I am, it was minus 35 Celsius outside with a wind. So that's lovely. That's why there's a reason why that looks white, it's all good. I don't mind it. Yeah. Now, okay, so to continue on with this topic here, okay, to expand upon it. We talked about linking operations to marketing. We talked about you can't assume or guess what your customers will like, okay? You have to go out and spend time with these people, get to know them, get to understand where they're coming from and how they see things. Okay, if you want to be able to satisfy that, you have to be able to understand what that is, right? And as I've talked about before on this channel, in this series of live streams, Side Hustle Ideas, the ultimate metric to measure the stuff is something called customer relative perceived quality. This is something they've had around since the 1960s. And if you've never heard of it, this is the only real metric that counts if you're an entrepreneur and if you're trying to get a product or service off the ground and have a hit. Customer relative perceived quality is actually very, very simple, even though it's got that retarded long name. What you do is you go to your potential customers. Okay, so the people you're targeting, that you're hoping will buy your thing. And you say, write down for me your top 10. Your top 10 providers of this, whatever you're into. So if you're a plumbing company, you would say, write me down your, in order, like of number 1 is the best, number 10 is the worst. The plumbers in this city, if you could get to fix your pipes, give me the top 10 in order, right? What's the best, in your opinion? And then what's all the way down to number 10, which would be the worst of the bunch, right? Now, where do you rank on that? Are you number 8? Are you number 10, right? Automobiles, write down your automobiles like Toyota, GM, I don't know, Chrysler, Tesla, like whatever. Write down your top 10. Which is the best? Make it number 1. Which is the worst of the 10? Make them number 10, right? Where does your company rank in that ranking? Are you number 8, number 5? Where are you, right? Because they did studies many, many years ago on this, and they've continued those studies up to the present day. They were trying to find out what factors result in financial success in a business. And what they found was the number 1 thing was this metric. Okay. Now, the problem is this metric is a combination of many things because, as you can appreciate, customers, their definition of best will vary, right? One person might say the best product is the cheapest product. Another person will say, no, the best product is the best quality, best performing product. Probably won't be the cheapest, probably be the most expensive, but it's the most effective product. Another person will say it's the one with the best bang for the buck. Or someone else might say, well, it's the coolest product. It's got style and it's kind of hip. Another person will say, well, it's the most user-friendly. It's the easiest product to use. Others might be more effective. Others might be cheaper, but this one is the easiest one. I don't have to know anything to use it. I just open it and bam, there you go, right? So everyone's going to have their own definition, right? But if you were to give this to this survey to your entire customer base or targeted market, you want the highest score possible. And what they found was that the companies that are number 1 and the products that are number 1, they're the most financially successful, right? But it follows that metric closer than any other metric is what they're saying. Doesn't matter if you're big company or small company. Doesn't matter if you are what they call your pure play, which means you only do this product, or you do this product and 10,000 other things. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Doesn't matter what country you're in. They found that this metric is the best indicator of financial success for a business operation. So the problem is that metric, what drives it? It drives many, it's been being driven by many, many things. What you do on the operations side affects it. What you do on the marketing side. Think of Apple, okay? Now, when Steve Jobs was around, certainly, I'm not a big expert in Apple, but they had like a real aura of, successfulness. Their stuff was the coolest stuff, the best stuff. Whether it was or not, it had that reputation. They positioned themselves as like really cool and like we're the best. Their prices were very, very high, and that leads some people to think like, okay, maybe it's really that good because it's so expensive. There's a bit of that. So a lot of the value perceived in Apple, I'm not taking away from them if you're an Apple fan, but a lot of it did certainly come from their marketing side. right? You take a product that's kind of okay, and then with a fantastic job of marketing it, you position it as like the coolest, most amazing, best thing ever, most desirable thing ever. And so customer relative perceived quality, it can also be driven by marketing efforts, right? It's not just operations efforts. It's a lot of things that contribute to it, okay? So if you want to see what you're doing, go out and try that method. Like that's the metric you need to score high on. So even if you only have a target market of 10 people, okay? Very specific. People who go here and look at this, those 10 people, see if you can score high on that metric. That's the idea. And then maybe you have something. Now, then that actually happens, because if your goal is to start a company just to have it acquired, your market might only be 3 people. Right? A market of 3 individuals, the people who could buy your company. An agent from this company, an agent from that company, and some weird angel investor or something. They're looking for targets. Where do you score on their list of options? Oh, you're scored number 10? You're not even on the list? Okay, well, get yourself on the list. Then try and get yourself to raise. Now, what would it take? Well, that's where you go talk to those people and find out how they're thinking. And then you realize they care about this weird thing that you never even considered before. And you're like, okay. So once you start paying attention to that, then you can improve your ranking with that person and people like them. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. That's good for today. Let's go over to you guys for questions. Okay, Julia says, thank you for the answer. You're welcome, Julia. And then, Julia says, wow. So hopefully that's a good thing. Cowboy Wolf says, what is your take on AI being a huge part of marketing and operations in small businesses? AI is a tool. It's yet another innovative tool, but it's a tool. It doesn't replace people for like thinking work. It can replace people for manual work, but does it replace people for thinking work? No, it's a tool, just like every other tool that's come before in a long line. So it's definitely useful. It's definitely here to stay. It's definitely disruptive. And it's definitely something that people should investigate and see if it can help you, right? It will eliminate people who are doing manual work if it can do the same manual work automatically, right? It won't replace people who are doing thinking work because it can't do thinking work. It's very, very clever and smart, but it's essentially a fancy version of autocomplete. It can do some amazing things that, I was watching Star Trek: The Next Generation the other day. Did anybody see that show? That was a popular show. And it's like they're talking to their ship's central computer and they're ordering it around. And at the time it was this like science fiction gee whiz stuff where they're saying, okay, computer, I want you to run a level 1 diagnostic on this, and then I want you to reconfigure that, and then, schedule this, and then, create that. It's like we're doing that now with between AI and voice recognition and a lot of other things. It's like we're there. Who knew? It's like not even 40 years later and we're there. But yes, it is incredibly useful. They will be using it in marketing. They will be using it in operations. They are using it right now in both of those, okay, in small business. Like, think of all the YouTubers. YouTube, like I'm a YouTuber. I mean, I do other things, but I'm a YouTuber, and that's like a one-person business. And I use ChatGPT and stuff like that to help write descriptions of videos and tags and all this kind of crap. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's using it, and it's an incredible, useful tool. Farzana says, wow, that is very cold. Yes, it is. But if you go to North Africa or, the Sahara, you go to, the Kalahari down in the south, or, in Africa, it's damn hot there too, It's like, it's what you're used to. You get used to it, and you can get used to anything. Now, I have an advantage over everybody else. I was born here, so this is normal to me, And I can't stand the heat. It has something to do with my physique, probably. You can pass me a donut and turn up the air conditioning, but it just seems normal to me. So, Farzana says, loved making snowmen with my friends back in the days. Yeah. Well, that is one thing that, 5-year-olds do in the snow, yes. There's plenty of other things to do in the snow. You can shovel it, break your back. So it's all fun and games until someone, ends up in the hospital. Farzana says, I saw one YouTuber was talking about getting AI tools for their online business a few days ago. It was interesting to hear about it. Yeah, I mean, listen, what's just happened with AI is what always happens when there's like a truly disruptive innovation. It comes in, and immediately before it comes in and while it comes in, most people put their fingers in their ears and they go, la, 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 nothing to see here. And they act like it doesn't exist. They ignore it, right? Right up until the point where they can't. And when AI was coming in, I was doing some teaching on the side in university, and I saw that in the educational system. ChatGPT was here. Students were using ChatGPT to do their homework and stuff, like writing their assignments and all this. And what was the attitude of education? It was like, just stick your finger in your ears and go, oh, this will pretend this thing doesn't exist. Up until the point where, like, it was clearly becoming a problem because half the students in a class were like getting it to do their homework, and they themselves did not know the material, but they were submitting these assignments. And so then what's the reaction? Okay, well, the reaction is we have to ban it. So ChatGPT is not allowed on university property. We block access to it when you're on the university. You're not allowed to use it, if you're a student. Just stupid, just completely stupid, and it's funny because these are the people that always position themselves and sort of portray themselves as being like progressive, we're like, yeah, the latest stuff, the latest thinking, open mind, and it's like, wow, there's a real reality check there. I've never seen like people panic as much over like something that's essentially good as those people did. So we follow this pattern, and then it becomes then people overcompensate. So they act like it's the solution to absolutely everything. Like everybody's job will be gone. No work will ever need to be done again because now we've got AI to do it for us, right? It'll change everything. It'll be either a utopia or it'll be living hell, but it's going to change everything. And they overestimate what it can do. And don't get me wrong, it's damn useful. It's very pervasive. It's going to get into everything. But in the same way that like the computer, all of a sudden the computer got user friendly. Like this was in the 80s. And all of a sudden like people had computers on their desk and it changed everything. You used to have mainframes with punch cards. Like if you wanted to do a graph with like a regression analysis, you'd have to go and like get a program and put it on punch cards and go down to the mainframe, like the central sort of, you'd give it to the person at the desk. They would like load all the punch cards into the machine. They'd run the program for you. And then you could do a graph with a regression analysis. Like that's the kind of lengths people had to go to. And all of a sudden now you can do it on your desk, So people said, this is it. This is going to change everything. Look at all these people are going to be laid off. There'll be no more big computers. Right? Not just one of the implications of this. Well, there's big computers. Are there people operating punch card machines? No. But there's mainframes, there's data centers. I mean, they've grown. You know what I mean? So the doomsayers are almost always completely wrong. You know what I mean? I've seen several waves come through, and it's always like that. I'm sure you guys have too. So there's some useful stuff there. Doesn't mean that you absolutely have to jump on every latest AI craze or trend to stay competitive, or you're going to just go under. No, not in the short term. Maybe in the long term, but not in the short term. It's going to be a gradual thing, especially for small business. Some industries move incredibly slowly. I worked in the railroad. The railroad moves slowly. It's been around for 150 years. It's going to be around for 150 more years. Nothing really changes, Other industries are obviously they move extremely quickly, and some are moving quickly because of AI. But a lot of them are just kind of, they're tacking on a couple of minor things and then business as usual. So that's kind of the deal. So don't believe like all the, the doomsayers and the people that are crying panic over it. It's not. The world constantly changes. It constantly readjusts. This is just one of them. It's a bigger blip, but it's still a blip. So there you go. I got to the end of the chat. So I see there's 25 people here. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you're getting something out of this. My endless ramblings. If you want to learn business, and you should learn business if you are going to be in business, if you're serious about it. Not everyone's serious about it, but if you're serious about it, you want to actually be a success, you want to start a company and, make your fortune, you need to learn business. And I've created a course that's my take on it, which is this. And my take on it is really teaching you the same material that you learn in a brick and mortar MBA program. It's not, the material is, most of it doesn't come from me. It's textbooks. The same textbooks they use in places like Harvard Business School in their MBA program. So you get a reading list and you read it to the depth that you want, on the schedule you want, taking the time that you want. It's entirely self-study. And what I've done is I make videos that accompany these, and I give you my take on it. I give you some commentary on it, and you get all of this for $100. It's called the $100 MBA course. There's a link to it in the description. Best bang for the buck anywhere to learn business. If you also have a regular career, you want to get promoted into management, you want to start making management decisions and make the right decisions, this will help you tremendously too. Just like a real MBA would. That's the gold standard for how to manage something. So check that out. There's a link in the description. I've also made other videos that are like FAQs. They explain the course completely so you know what you're getting into, answer a lot of common questions, so it's as transparent as possible, and then you have all the information you need before pulling the trigger on that. So check it out. It's a very popular thing, the $100 MBA. Julia says, thank you for the insights, Bill. God bless you. Well, thank you very much, Julia. Thank you for being here. Yeah, there are 26 people here. So get in the chat. Let me know what you guys are wondering. I've done my little monologue there, and I've answered the activity that we have in the chat. So get in there. Let me know what you think, what you're wondering about, what you're struggling with, and I'll be happy to respond. If I don't get anything in there, I'm going to have to wind this down. But yeah, if you're seeing my face, you should see like a chat box somewhere nearby. Just get in there, type your comments. This is how I interact with people, live streams. I can't really type answers to comments in the comments section. It's just too time consuming. So I do it with live streams. People are using a lot of, are they all emojis? Like the hearts and the snowflakes and the, this symbol? Are those all emojis? Like they're symbols, right? Like I guess they're emojis. But people are using a lot of them. That's kind of interesting. It makes the chat a little bit more colorful anyway. Cowboy Wolf says, I want to join the $100 MBA course. How is the format layout? I started a small business 2 years ago, but I wanted to take it to the next level of success. Okay, it's laid out exactly like a standard MBA program is in a university. So when you take an MBA, usually there's about 10 or 12 or sometimes more courses, right? Usually you have some kind of ending thing. Either it's a capstone project or it's a thesis, okay? Like either like some big thing you do at the end, right? So it's a bunch of courses and like a thesis or project. Now, I've taught in like post-secondary business programs, and I have an MBA myself. And so I'm just mimicking, the standard layout of those courses. So you'll get like a course on, usually like there's I can't remember how many, it's like 7 or 8 that are like absolutely core components, things like accounting, things like marketing, HR would be one, IT is usually another one, or like IT/operations. They might even talk about quality. They might, like, there's, continuous improvement. There's like a whole bunch of stuff in that, like, sort of operations side. Usually you get at least one course on that. There'll be a course on strategy. There'll be a course on sort of general management. So like you get all those. They might have a separate accounting course and a finance course. That's usually the core. And then if you specialize, you can take more accounting courses or more finance courses, depending on what you're doing. Then there's a bunch of options. So you get your core classes, and then you've got a bunch of options. Things like entrepreneurship is usually an option. I forgot, like economics would be a core course. Like all the different sort of areas of business. And, you can take a lot of different, like innovation would be another elective that you could take. There are like so many electives, like change management, project management. There's all kinds of things in there, right? So that's where you can sort of specialize. Now, the structure of my course just mirrors that. So you've got, I can't remember, it was like 7 or 8 core courses. So for each of those, you would have a book, right? And you can order the book where you want. Usually you can get them off Amazon. And these are the actual textbooks. They're the same ones that are used in, accredited MBA programs and in brick and mortar universities. And the idea is that what I actually recommend this, is don't pay full price for your books. Get like, a volume of your book that's like 2 editions old, and you can get it for like literally $5. And what I found is that, almost across the board, a book that's say 2 editions old, the main material in it, like all the text, will be pretty much exactly the same. Usually what they do is they update the examples, like case studies and things like that. They use current examples. Now, I actually like using older examples, because if something is happening right now, you don't know how it's going to turn out. Is it going to be a success or not? So a lot of case studies and a lot of like examples, they'll have like a page on, say, Elon Musk, what he's doing with Tesla, with the Optimus robot or something that they're building. And they'll say, oh, this is an example of a business leader who's employing this strategy that we're talking about, and he's crushing it, right? This is an example of how to do things right. Well, the Tesla thing hasn't played out yet. So I find it interesting when you get an edition of the book that's like 2 editions old, and it's the same text, but instead of talking about Tesla, they'll be talking about BlackBerry, and they'll say, oh, here's like, example of a company that really knows what it's doing. They're employing this strategy, and, they're doing it correctly. It's going to ensure success, right? Now, as we all know, BlackBerry failed miserably, right? So doing it a bit in arrears, where you get that sort of hindsight, it gives you even more insight into some of the things that they're talking about, right? So I actually like getting older editions, slightly older, like not, from the 1950s or something, but, slightly older versions of books, just so that you could look at their examples of things to illustrate their points, where they're not updated to what we are dealing with now. We know how things turned out. So anyway, so it's a double whammy. So you get that extra insight, and you get you order the book like in pretty good condition for like $5, or it could be new for $5, if you order it off Amazon. So I give you the reading list, and I give you the videos that take you through all these. And then the electives, you can decide what areas you're interested in, and I make recommendations for like many different areas. If you're interested in entrepreneurship, I recommend this book. If you're interested in, innovation or whatever, I recommend this book. If you want to do some of the more advanced finance stuff, I recommend this book for understanding term sheets, or this for like understanding, foreign, like FX market and all this kind of stuff. So that's how I've structured it. So hopefully that makes sense. So no pressure, Cowboy Wolf. It's a good resource if you want to take it. It'll give you what you get from a university program. It doesn't give you experience. Nothing will give you experience. You need the theory and you need the specific industry knowledge of what you're doing. And you put those two together, and that will enable you to knock it out of the park. I got a super chat from Kevin D. Bella. Kevin says, just found your channel this weekend applying for out-of-state job and badly want to get past ATS for the interview. Any tips? Okay, to contact HR on LinkedIn. Okay, now normally, Kevin, see, I do different live streams in the week. This is normally the one where I talk about entrepreneurship. So I normally wouldn't answer like job hiring questions here. But because you sent a super chat, I'll give you a brief answer here. So you want to get past ATS for an interview. That's one question. Let's start with that very quickly. Okay, you want to get past ATS. The way to do it is with keywords. And the way to do it is by rewriting your resume, a custom rewrite of your resume that uses their lingo to rewrite your personal story, your resume, and you submit that. That way, when the ATS software scans it to that initial filter, it's going to find the things that it's looking for because it's looking for keywords, it's looking for key phrases, and so on. And you're going to adapt your stuff to what they're looking for, and then you're going to remove a lot of the things that they are not looking for so that it doesn't dilute it. And that will give you your best chance of getting past ATS software. Are you saying, is it okay to contact HR on LinkedIn? There's nothing wrong with it. However, it's not the method that I recommend. I recommend that you use LinkedIn for something far more potent, and that is to reaching out to employers. And you wouldn't go to recruiters or anyone in the HR organization. You go directly to the decision makers, the people that have the power to hire you, which are the hiring managers. So that is basically managers that are at the mid-level and up. And what I recommend actually is you talk to people that are in executive management. Okay, these people are not superstars. I was a former CEO. Of course, it's appropriate to send a message to someone like me. I mean, I will probably not answer, but if I am looking for someone with your skills right now, there's a chance I can respond and say, hey, you kind of landed right in my lap. I might have to hire someone with your skills. Let's have a phone call or let's get together for coffee or something. So that's usually a way to tap a ton of opportunities. So I talk all about that. There's a lot of details of how to do that in this course. I have some free stuff on my YouTube channel. If you go to the main page, like the Company's Expert homepage on YouTube, there's a playlist called How to Tap the Hidden Job Market. Check that out. I've also done stuff on resumes. I think last week I did a live stream on, it was called The Perfect Resume. It's like one of the live streams I did last week. So you could rewatch that. That's where I talked about that. Okay, and hopefully between all that stuff, you should be on the right path. So thanks, Kevin, for the super chat. I wish you success. Okay, there are 26 people here. Last call for getting in the chat, asking me questions. If you are trying to get something off the ground, I'm here to help you with that. Yeah, that's the deal. I suppose I could elaborate on Kevin's thing while I'm waiting a couple of minutes, I suppose. For the LinkedIn thing. Now, I know that there's some people that advocate that you contact recruiters directly on LinkedIn. I don't have a lot of personal experience with that, so I can't say whether it works or not. But what I do know is that it's like recruiters are very, very busy. They are constantly connecting and contacting lots of people. They have several, like a typical day for a recruiter is they have more than one job that they're currently trying to fill. So they've got several jobs they're trying to fill. Each job has got hundreds of applicants. And then what they're trying to do is for each of those jobs, they're going to be setting up interviews, and you're going to have probably an average of six or so candidates, or 6 interviews for most jobs. For some higher level ones, you'll have more. For some lower level ones, you'll have less. And you're constantly setting those up. So coordinating between everyone's schedules, and you're attending those also. So you've got to do all of this and juggle all of this together. So they tend to be quite busy, and they tend to always be contacting a million people. So if you contact them, there's a higher probability that it will be sort of lost in the in between the cracks, or that they don't have a ton of time to spend on you. So if it's not essential, they don't really know what this is about, or they've already received 800 applicants for this job, but then they've got a question from another person asking about it. Like, answering that question is kind of low priority for them. So as you can tell, and I mean, full disclosure, I'm kind of biased against doing that. I think that there are a lot more efficient ways that are also more promising of getting a job. And I've kind of, the purpose of my channel a lot of the time is to turn people on, especially young people, to the hidden job market, jobs that are out there that are not being posted. 80% of the jobs are not posted. So what you're seeing, all those jobs, that's only 20% of the jobs that are out there. So there's this huge universe of all kinds of jobs that are out there. And the way you tap that is you connect with these people. So if you don't know anyone, that's fine. You reach out to employers that could hire someone like you. And if you know who to talk to, usually somebody towards the top, and you know what to say, which is just, I'm here, I've got these skills, let me know if you're interested. Or you could set up informational interviews and do something more ambitious that tend to work better, but they're more work. That tends to reveal a lot of these other options for you that are not posted. And that's where the good jobs are. And that's where the process is a lot more positive. You're not dealing with a bunch of unprofessional recruiters that don't care about talking to you. You're dealing with a bunch of executives that, for the most part, have very advanced communication skills. They've got a lot of charisma. They don't make you feel 2 inches tall, right? They're impressed by your initiative and enthusiasm, and they give you the time because it's flattering, and they want to encourage people to work at their companies that want to work for them specifically. That's why they do it. Kevin says, thank you so much. Sorry for the interruption. Not a problem, Kevin. Thank you for the super chat. Or the 2 super chats. Look at that. Thank you very much. Okay, I don't see a ton of activity in the chat, so I'm probably going to wind this down. I do this live stream every Monday at the same time. And later this afternoon, in an hour, I have another live stream. I'm collaborating with another YouTuber, Abby, from the channel Life Work Balance. She is a recruiter, and she has insights into, specifically what recruiters do and how they think and all this kind of stuff. So we do the live stream together. So you could come back in an hour to see that, and you could ask questions to both of us at once, and you could maybe see some alternate perspectives on things. So if that's interesting to anyone, check that out. But in the meantime, if you are looking to start your own side hustle, get another income source, or you are looking to start your own business, either way, I applaud you. You can do it. The trick is to go about it in an intelligent way. And then you can minimize the risk and you can maximize the chance of success. And the more you learn about business, the more it'll help you in your life, in your career, whatever your career is, a day job as an employee, or you're a business owner doing your own thing on the side, or doing your own thing as the main line, which is what I do. It will help you, because business is the scientific study of how to make money. So if you want to learn how to make money, it's good to know business. Cowboy Wolf is here, says, do you speak at any business workshops or business summits? I would like to hear you speak on other business topics. I used to like 10 years ago or something. I used to do some of that stuff. I didn't have a ton of time because I'm a business consultant. So, when you speak, usually you're doing it for not a lot of money. So, it would be a lower priority, but I did quite a few of those. I did workshops with schools, with kids and stuff, high school kids that are like looking to possibly go into business and things like that. So I've done that kind of stuff. I haven't really done it in the last few years just because I've been so busy, but yeah, and it was before I got on YouTube, so I never made any arrangements to have any of it filmed or videoed or anything. So, I think there's like one video of me giving like a talk at like a breakfast talk or something, a business breakfast talk or something. They had some weird stuff like that where they get business owners around all to go have breakfast at a restaurant, and it'd be like somebody talking about real estate or something. I did a couple of those, and I think one of those was filmed. So I'm not sure if anyone put that up. But there you go. I've sort of shot my mouth off about everything under the sun on this YouTube channel, so that takes place of it. Oh, and I have done some keynotes and stuff like that at events, but those are a different thing. Okay, thanks to everybody who's here. You guys are awesome. I wish you nothing but the best. I'll be back next Monday. Learn all you can. The more you know, the further you'll go, and I wish you absolutely the best of luck in the future. Take care.